Okay, John the Trans Guy here, and I want to talk to you today about PO741 on a Cadillac. What causes that? Alright, we've got the PO741 is a torque converter clutch stuck off. And basically what that is saying is that the computer is commanding the clutch inside of this torque converter to come on, and it's not seeing that happen. So it feels like it's stuck off. Now these Cadillacs back in the day had what they call a, we go ahead and cut this converter apart, so I'm going to take the top off for you. They had a viscous clutch in this thing. And basically what happens is this viscous clutch is filled with silicone. And the silicone will leak out of this clutch and make this clutch slip. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, now if you want to look at these splines right here, this is what lug spline into the transmission, and this is what attaches to the engine. So basically I can just take this clutch and turn it, and the splines aren't moving. What it is that the silicone is leaked out of this thing, and it spins very easily. Now if this was a good clutch, it would be very difficult to turn this piston and not turn the splines, which is what's happening here. So it's got a bad viscous clutch in it. That's what's going on with it. Alright, let's get and put it back together. This is the inside of the converter. Here, we're going to put it back in there. Now, what we do nowadays is we do away with this. We don't use that anymore. There's different options out there, but basically the viscous clutch is replaced with a different style clutch. More like a clutch like this. That's a solid clutch and has a carbon webbing on it. So when it applies, it kind of has a controlled slip to it. Okay, so the answer is replacing the converter, right? Yeah, maybe, but there's some other things you got to look at inside the transmission as well, just to make sure that you got the problem solved. One of them is if you take the transmission out of the car, you take off the channel plate, which is the back of the transmission right here, and there's a seal in the channel plate, this thing right here, channel plate seal, and that thing rides onto the shaft which goes into the transmission. And if these seals, you can see from the other angle here, if these things go bad, then you'll lose torque converter clutch apply oil, and that'll make your torque converter clutch not apply as well. So we usually take them down and put a new channel plate torque converter clutch seal in it. Okay, now also on the front of the transmission is the O-ring right here. We replace that too, because that seals inside, that seals the apply oil to apply the clutch inside the torque converter. And we also go ahead and replace the front seal on it as well. We also put the torque converter clutch solenoid on it, which is right here, the smaller solenoid. We'll put that in, and of course we'll replace the filters while we're in there and put new fluid in it, and then we'll install it back into the car. Okay, so this is going back in the car with it. Of course, we'll check the flywheel and make sure all that's good. That can also affect torque converter clutch supply. Make sure the dial pins and all the stuff are good in there. And then we'll reinstall it back in the car. Okay, so if you're driving one of these cars, Cadillac, and you have a PO741 code, which is torque converter clutch stuck off, doesn't mean it's really stuck off. What it means is that the computer's trying to apply the torque converter clutch and it's not seeing the clutch apply. So the most common failure for these things is the torque converter, as you can see with the viscous clutch. But there's some other things too that you want to check inside the transmission that we went over. So thanks for watching, like, and subscribe.